She's my Japanese queen. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ee. I'm talking in Japanese. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ee. She's my Japanese queen.
Hello, friends. My guest today is an incredibly talented musician and one of my best friends. He started playing music at an early age, was the drummer for Happy Gnome, the drummer for the Misbeats, the lead singer of LFD, and is currently the bass player for Hired Hounds. We didn't talk about it, but the Hired Hounds will be going into the studio soon to record an EP. I will put links and stuff in the bio so you can check out all of these past projects. He's one of those people who can basically pick up any instrument and write a song in 20 minutes. He is one of the funniest people I know, and I love him to death. His name is Cody Pando. You've been playing music for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You've been a drummer. You've been a singer.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. You've been a tour manager, a bus driver.
Yeah.
No,
I fell asleep in buses.
You play bass now for Hired Hounds.
I do, yep.
You never played guitar, lead guitar, but you've basically done everything else.
Yeah, we'll go. So I'll start by going back to when I was a kid, and my brother's a musician. So Nick got into music when he was probably in his early teens, and he wanted to be a drummer. And he had a friend that played guitar, he just played acoustic guitar. And Nick didn't have anything, and I think he eventually got a bass drum. And then he started putting together like a makeshift drum kit with like 5-gallon buckets and shit. And I think he ended up getting a snare. And then, anyways, they were jamming. So you fast forward through a year or two, all of a sudden Nick gets a full kit, and we're talking like early 90s or mid 90s, so there wasn't anything to like record with or anything. So they'd set up like I had a karaoke machine that they'd set up, and they'd like record their own little demos in the basement of my dad's house. And I would sit back and just watch them all the time. Me and the dude's younger brother. We just watch them jam all the time. And I was really into it. And then I knew I wanted to play. So I got to start playing when I was 7 or 8.
You started playing a real kit when you were 7 or 8?
Yeah. I started playing Nick's kit when I was probably 7 or 8, and instantly took to it, loved it. I saw Nick and his buddy jam, and I was just like, dude, that's what I want to do. And Nick would sometimes let me play, sometimes wouldn't let me play. He was a dickhead older brother, so if he let me, sometimes it was cool. If not, whatever.
But that's all you played for a long time, right? Was just drums?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Just drums forever. And so years went by, we jammed, and then you fast forward to getting into high school. I met, I've always known Jimmy and Casey, and they were in a talent show. I think you guys were in that talent show too.
Yeah. When they played they played the Green Day song.
Yeah, and they had a different drummer at that time, Cole.
It was Cole Hockey.
Yeah, Cole Hockey was drumming with them. And he wore I remember he fucking wore like a bandit mask or something to the talent show. Anyways, I was on the school board. What do you call it? I was
vice president.
No, I was like USB, publicity. Yeah, ASB publicity manager. And so my job was to do something before when everybody's coming in. So I had my little turntable kit that I used to do my DJ thing. It's like, scratching up. Everybody's coming in. Everybody's setting up to do their acts. And I got to watch people practice or do their pre-performance or practices and stuff. So I kind of knew that they were jamming, but we haven't talked yet at this point. So Casey and Brandon and Cole did their Green Day thing. You guys did, what'd you guys do?
We played all along the Watchtower.
Yeah, that's right. You guys did that. Anyways, you guys ended up winning, I remember. And after that, Cole was done. Didn't want to do the band anymore. They called themselves Pollywog or something. I can't remember. It was something real stupid. But he decided he wasn't going to do it. So they had all their stuff set up at Casey's house in the garage, and Cole had his drum set there, but no drummer. Mm-hmm. So Casey told Brandon, hey, I know a guy that can play. I don't know if he plays anymore, but I know he used to play. So he's like, we can ask Pando. And Brandon's like, okay, whatever. So I went up with no intentions to be in their band or anything, just to meet him. And hey,
you weren't even friends with him yet?
Not really. I mean, we grew up together. Me and Casey were friends when we were really young. Like, I have a VHS video of my 7th birthday party, and we're at the bowling alley. We started at my house. Tony Rowland was there, Casey, just a bunch of dudes that I don't even know anymore, but they were at my house. Then we went to the bowling alley, and Casey was bowling with us. Mm-hmm. And he wore just nothing but denim, a denim button-up shirt, a denim jeans. He was like fucking Jay Leno's turd. So we knew each other back then. And Brandon lived, like, I lived on Trevitt and 12th, or what was that, 13th? And if you go down 13th, about 5 blocks, Brandon lived there. So, I mean, we knew each other. We just weren't friends.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty crazy, though, in a small town like that. They're in a band and they're playing, and you play drums, and you guys hadn't made that connection yet.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I was just, before I was friends with a lot of people who I wasn't friends with at this point. I was kind of like, it was like a sophomore year as a transition time where I didn't know who I was, what I was going to do, who I wanted to hang out with, you know. Yeah. I mean, I knew everybody, but I just didn't know where I fit. So
Cole bailed, and then you
stepped in.
Did you guys become Happy Gnome like pretty quickly?
Pretty quick after that. I showed up. We jammed. We went through a couple of their originals that they had, and we just. I was leaving, and they asked me. Casey was like, "So you want to do this?" And I was just like, "I don't know. I don't have a drum set." Oh, you could use Cole's. Well, eventually he's gonna fucking want that back.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, sorry, we got a new drummer. Can he use your drums?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Was he pissed?
No, because I don't know, we'd have to ask him, but I think he just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And he was doing something else. And maybe Casey and Brandon weren't necessarily what he wanted to do. I don't know. I never really talked to him about that.
Yeah.
But I know he eventually, after we jammed a couple more times, and I was like, dude, I want to do this. And Cole took his drum set. And so I can't remember if this happened or if I'm just making this up in my head, but I think Joel Anders' older brother had a drum set, and he didn't want it anymore. And I always played it whenever I went over to their house and hung out, because they lived right across from the high school, and like we'd always go over there and like hang out and shit. And I think he let me take it for a little bit, and I was gonna buy it, but I didn't. So then I ended up buying my own drum set down in Portland at Apple Music. Mm-hmm. You know, I got a job with Burgerville, and I started putting like $100 of each one of my paychecks, and then got the drum set, and then we were like, fuck it, we're Happy Gnome. And they already had the name picked out and stuff. Mm-hmm. A friend of ours drew the logo for us, and then that was just like a thing that she drew for him, and they were like, that's kind of our name. And I was like, that's kind of stupid, but yeah, Happy Gnome, I guess. What the fuck is what is Happy Gnome? Does that mean anything? And they're just like, no.
That's the thing about band names. It usually doesn't mean anything. You just got to pick something that somebody else doesn't have.
Like fucking Korn.
Yeah.
Or something, you know, or, you know, any
band name.
Any bands, yeah, you ask them. None of them really, I don't think, a lot of them don't have any substance or meaning.
Yeah.
Tool.
Yeah.
You know, it's just what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, what I was getting at is, like, anybody who knows you knows that, like, you're pretty extroverted and outgoing and fucking wild card, dude. Mm-hmm. And in all the years that you've been playing music and performing and everything, do you ever get nervous?
Yeah. Actually, I really get nervous. I do. I get, I do and I don't, I guess, anymore. The day of, my biggest thing, like if we're playing on a Saturday, is to limit myself. Don't try to overcome my nerves by drinking too much or, you know, doing whatever too much, because sometimes I'll do that just to kill the nerves too early, and it can train wreck a set real bad. And I always want to be 110% to whatever I'm doing. But yeah, I get nervous. I do. It depends. Our last show that we played at the Hawthorne Hideaway was fucking like big. There was a lot of people there, and I didn't expect that because of COVID. It was supposed to be a very limited, like only letting a certain amount of people in. and the bands that we played and stuff brought a shitload of people. So it was like packed, and I was like, oh my God, we're doing this again. So I got nervous in that one. But yeah, I do. I get nervous every time we play. Every time I have to do any performance or anything, I just...
Does it change based on what you're playing? Because you play drums for bands, you've sang for bands.
Yeah.
Do you get more nervous when you're singing?
I got way nervous the first time I played bass for Hired Hounds. We had a gig, and they talked me into playing bass for them. And I knew how to play bass. I didn't know any chords, any roots, any like scales, anything. I just kind of, which I still do, just kind of, we stay caught in the pocket, and I just kind of, whatever Jordan's playing, I kind of just try to stay in that pocket. Mm-hmm. And we had a gig in Hood River for a friend of ours. Son passed away like years ago, and they do an annual thing for him like every year, and they did it at the Underground in Hood River. And they asked Hired Hounds to play, and we only had like 4 songs, maybe 5.
You just play them 3 times in a row?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute, we already heard the shit.
Start it over. No, we had like 4 originals, 1 cover. And my dad came, and we loaded things in. And it was like our first gig, but everybody was treating us like we've been playing forever. Like there was like a green room kind of thing where all the bands put their shit. Mm-hmm. And like we went in there, and they're like, shut the door. Like, don't let anybody in here except the band. And I was just like, fuck. So I'm like going through the songs. Some friends from Portland came down with us, and like I was probably the most fucking nervous that I've ever been for a show for that one, because I've never played bass in a band.
Yeah.
You know, if I was singing, I probably could have been like, okay, I could do this. Singing was my least nervousness.
Yeah.
With LFD. Because, dude, I mean, my instrument's my voice. As long as I didn't lose it the night before, or I still have it, and I trained my vocals to fucking be able to scream and hit all that shit. Like, it never... That was my least nervousness with music. But yeah, the bass was fucking... I was like,
well, yeah, it's probably because that's what you've been playing the least.
Yep.
Right? I mean, you've been playing drums for 15 years, 20 years. So you could play a show tonight on the drums. You probably wouldn't care that much.
No. Like Happy Gnome, when we did our reunion, I was totally 100% confident that we were going to... We only practiced like 4 times before that in fucking the last 8 years. But we practiced. The times that we did practice, I'd go to the Dalles, and we would jam from 11 o'clock till fucking 7 o'clock. So we do like 8-hour band practices. Yeah. And we would fucking, write down every single song we ever thought we ever did and what we could remember for them. So we did that.
How many were there?
Oh, dude, tons. A lot more than I ever thought. Yeah, we probably had in our catalog like 30, and I mean not a ton, but like 30 plus songs that...
Of originals?
Well, probably 20 plus originals, and then a bunch of like stupid shit that we covered. But we had a lot more than I thought. Like we covered, I think our set was like 12 or 13 songs, which is like probably 7 more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was insane. That was so cool though, coming back and doing that. Like Brandon bought himself a new amp, because he didn't have his bass amp anymore. Casey got all of his stuff, out of the closet that he hasn't played with forever. Mm-hmm. Like all of Casey's stuff came out of the closet. And then I was fucking playing my brother's Gretsch kit that has been sitting forever since he's been locked up. So I was like matching some stuff I had on some stuff he did. And we have video footage of us jamming in the basement. It was really like, it was just like being in high school again.
Yeah.
Except we're in Brandon's basement, and there's a bunch of fucking Black Widows around us being like, why are you stirring up dust and playing loud music? We're trying to fucking, live in this basement.
Yeah, it's cool. I wish I would have made it for that. I think you guys should play more.
I think we talked about it. We were gonna possibly do a show at the Hawthorne Hideaway. They
come up on this a little bit more.
On the Hawthorne Hideaway show that that Hired Hounds did, the owner of Route 30 Bar and Grill from the Dalles came down to watch our show because Conflict Radio was going to be playing there, and they wanted to check out some other bands. And then the guy talked to me about having Hired Hounds play in 2 weeks from there down there. And we really don't have any desire to play down in the Gorge or down in the Dalles.
You should set up a show where Happy Gnome plays, then LFD, and then Hired Hounds. You just switch instruments for every single set.
I don't know. I don't think LFD would do it. I think maybe James would and stuff, but I haven't talked to some of them forever.
Okay, well, I didn't think we were going to get into this that quickly, but we could do it now. being in a band is hard, right? You got all these different personalities and
big time hard sometimes very, very hard. Like it's like you have 4 girlfriends or 3 girlfriends or whatever, or some of them fucking think you're married.
Yeah.
So catering to everybody's needs, wants, or egos is hard. You know, I mean, we all have our day jobs and this is what we do for fun.
Well, then you include their girlfriends, right?
And then you have their girlfriends.
You get fucking Yoko hanging out.
Or their goddamn whoever, influencers are, whether it be their friends or family or girlfriends and whatever.
Yeah.
And then you start drinking and stuff, and then all of a sudden everybody has their own opinion on how things are going to be or how things are going to work, or then their girlfriends or wives want to say and we're like, I don't give a fuck. I love my wife, but if she's watching this, baby, I love you. But she knows with the band and the band decisions and stuff, generally it's the band and the band decisions, you know? And then I will never, like, if somebody has an anniversary, which we've played shows where actually almost every year we play a show when Greg has an anniversary, which kind of sucks, but his wife's very good about it. But yeah, dude, it's hard. It can be hard, really hard at sometimes. You got to give a lot, and then, you got to be open-minded to everybody. And then scheduling.
Yeah.
It's been really easy lately because everything's been shut down with the pandemic and stuff, but, like, I'm usually the one that books the gigs and shit, and I have to remember sometimes, like, a really good opportunity I think will pop up for us. Whatever band I'm in or whoever I'm playing. And I instantly want to be like, fuck yeah, we'll do it. I'll hit back. Yeah, we're going to do it. And then I have to remember, wait, I got to see what blah, blah, blah is doing, who's doing, where they're going. Are they going on vacation? We're in summer, scheduling wise.
Yeah, it gets harder when you get older. When you're in your 20s and nobody has jobs and everybody's broke, nobody has kids, nobody has wives.
Nobody cares, yeah.
If you just like all in, then you can kind of just try to write it. But
yeah,
that's also the hardest time to make anything happen, just because you have to go all the way in,
right?
All those bands that made it.
Oh yeah, everybody that's made it. I've thought about that a lot recently. I actually had a really vivid dream last night. Who was I talking to? I think I was talking to Mark Kimmel. And he was asking me, like, my band was just about to go on stage, and he was asking me, he's like, so you ever think about just doing this for a living? And I was like, I think about it all the fucking time. I was like, but I don't know if I'm not sure if we're ready. I said, but I know myself in my dream was saying, but I know I want to put 110% in from now on, not because I'm getting older and this has to happen now, but like you just said, it's also being at the right place at the right time and knowing the right people and talking to the right people and a lot of communication and a lot of wheeling and dealing. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it's just being lucky too.
Yeah, for sure. It's circumstance. And like if Nirvana came around today, they wouldn't have been as successful as they were. It's like you have to hit a certain demographic, and you have to like hit a certain moment in time,
right?
Otherwise, that shit doesn't happen. You can't be 5 minutes late or 5 years late or 5 years early,
right?
Like that's why things happen when they happen, because like something
there's a window or something of
like,
opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, Nicole told me about there's this book she read called the Outliers or something. Have you ever heard of that?
Outliers.
Outliers. Is that what it is?
Malcolm Gladwell, I think.
Yeah, I've never read it. Not a huge book reader, but she was telling me about it. In the book, pretty much, and like I said, I'm just quoting this. I don't know. It like pretty much in time, there's people that are born in the right time and there's certain people that are born in the right time, right place, right time, and it works out perfect for them. Mm-hmm. And she said stuff like kids that are older. Like we held Shannon back in kindergarten. Now he's the oldest kid in his class.
Yeah.
And maybe that will help his baseball because he's bigger or older and blah, 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 blah.
Well, yeah, dude. Do you remember Josh Mellum?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was in our grade, in
my
grade.
That's right, yeah.
And his birthday was in August. Uh-huh. And he was really short and really small.
So his parents held him back.
His parents held him back in 8th grade. And we never talked to him again.
And he was one of the smartest kids. Like, he didn't need to be held back, right?
He was so smart.
Super smart.
They kept him back because they wanted him to hit his growth spurt so that he'd get bigger for baseball.
Yeah.
But, like, in the process, like, totally derailed, isn't like? Can you imagine getting held back in 8th grade?
Yeah.
All your friends are going to high school, and you've got to do 8th grade over again.
And you're like, what the fuck?
man?
I remember going to 8th grade and him being in some of my classes, and him and Corey were like really good friends. I know we were gonna drop names, but it's not stupid.
It's not bad.
Him and Corey were like best friends. I remember going to a class and Josh is in there, and I'm just like. And I think he felt bad about it. He's probably pretty embarrassed too. Like there's no reason why he should have been held back besides his growth and to do better in sports.
Yeah.
And I remember asking him, I was a dick. I was like, why the fuck are you back here? I mean, should you? And he's just like, and I think Corey put me up, dude, he doesn't want to talk about it. It's for sports, and you wouldn't understand. And I didn't understand because I wasn't a jock, and I didn't understand the whole thing. You know, but with Shannon, I think we got lucky. Like, we didn't even make that decision consciously about it. Was because he was a little bit behind in his studies. Mm-hmm. And Nicole and I were like, well, best to hold him back now. Then he's like 4th and 5th grade, and all the kids are like, what the hell? Why is Shannon getting held back?
Yeah.
Because when you're kindergarten, they're just like, nah, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, what are you doing in kindergarten anyway?
No.
Like eating snacks and
playing
blocks.
Playing blocks, and yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And like getting colds from other kids, snot-nosed brats. So yeah, it wasn't a big deal. But now that Nicole's back to what we were saying with perfect time, places and time, she kind of was explaining this to me one day, and I was just like, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
It's true, man, because think about it. Like, all those people that made all that incredible music that we grew up on, you know, like all the alternative stuff that came out in the 90s, all those guys and gals were born like the late 60s.
Right.
So their parents were like going through the whole
hippie transition.
Hippie love, summer of love, that whole like revolution, you know?
Right.
Fuck the Vietnam War, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so they were like molded in that idea, or
True.
at least it was like something they could see on TV or whatever. And they grew up and they went through the 70s and then the 80s, man. Like, fuck the 80s.
So we were born in the mid 80s.
Yeah,
so it's like,
and they sucked.
Like, now what we get? I'm lucky I'm even playing or doing anything, because like, what the hell did the 80s have besides like Duran Duran and fucking
Billy Idol,
Flock of Seagulls and Billy Idol, yeah. And now they try to kind of bring back that music, and it's just like, no, man.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Well,
electronic fucking post whatever.
Dude, it's weird too, because like,
cocaine burnout music.
I feel like when we were younger, I think the people, not everybody, but like a lot of people aspired to becoming musicians or like being in a band or getting, you know, like that was the dream.
Right.
You could get in a band, you could get famous, you could fucking tour the world.
Yeah.
And whatever. Now, dude, I don't feel like kids really. That's not like the dream. The dream is you can
be a YouTube star.
You can be a YouTube star, or you can play
video games.
Fortnite, and
people watch you.
People will watch you play Fortnite.
Millions.
Yeah.
We just watched my friend's kids the other day, and they put on some thing where the grandparents were zombies, and you had to walk through and kill all these people in the zombie house that they lived in. And I'm like, I came home. I was watching them, like, don't you guys want to just play this video game? No, we watch people playing it. I'm like, how many people do that? We look, there's like 15 million viewers that watch that fucking video. And I'm like, And then Shannon's told me a bunch of times, she's like, oh, this guy's he's an influencer. What the hell is that? Oh, well, he plays games and people watch him, or he does a YouTube channel. And now it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? We were like, we want to be a rock star. I watch MTV. I mean, I've seen some cool bands. They're like, I want to be on YouTube. And then when I tell Shannon and his friends that I'm going to come do this podcast and stuff, whoa, Maxwell has a podcast on YouTube? How many subscribers does he have? How many views do you think?
Maxwell has 9 subscribers.
Yeah.
What a douche.
He's like, how many people are going to watch this? I'm like, tens of 20s to maybe 100. And they're like,
his grandma and a few other people.
Yeah, they're like, my dad might watch it. A couple people might watch halfway through. But yeah, everybody wants to be a YouTuber. And I mean, that's okay, I guess.
Whatever.
That's the new thing.
I guess every generation has... Like, everybody had, you know, a long time ago, it used to be, I want to be an astronaut.
Right.
I want to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
I want to be a police officer.
Nah,
you know,
don't
like
got that shit anymore.
No, nobody cares about any of that stuff.
If you
anymore.
had career day today, they'd be like, man, I want to be on YouTube and have 1 million followers.
Yeah, I want to be PewDiePie.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to be Maxwell's Kitchen.
No, nobody's saying that.
He could one day.
One day.
Maxwell grew up. Look, kids, he's a YouTube star. Fuckers.
Yeah, no, it's weird how it changed. Like, and that's part of the thing that makes me kind of feel old. It's like, I don't understand it. I'm like what you said. I'm like, you guys are watching someone play a video game.
Play games. play games. That's what they're doing. What the hell is that? Something in my head. Yeah, they're watching people play video games.
What's wrong with kids? They don't want to be rock stars anymore?
No.
They don't want to die early from an overdose?
Yeah, come on, man. Set your goals low like we did. And then one day you'll be in Northeast Portland doing a podcast talking about how you should have been a rock star. But
yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that goes back to some other things I was thinking about. But when I was thinking about what we were going to talk about, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a baseball star. I wanted to play sports. I wanted to be Ken Griffey Jr., you know?
Right.
And I realized I sucked at sports. And then I found... Somebody calling
Yours
me?
are mine now.
I realized that wasn't going to happen. And then I got into music.
Yep.
And I started playing music. I bought that guitar from Irvin for $40.
Yep.
And I started doing that. And I was like, this is cool, man.
Yeah.
And I thought that the dream was to eventually get famous.
Right.
You know? And that's the vision in my mind that equaled success.
Right.
But now that I look back on it, like, it's easy to say when I'm just like a dude who lives in Portland, but like, I don't know if being famous would be cool.
No. I've thought about that too. I thought about like how cool it would be. My whole life, I wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
I wanted to be somebody. I wanted people to fucking know who I am, who I was, what I am. I remember being as young as I can remember, just being like dancing at Watonka football games. My grandpa's, he's in the stands and I'm down there. Like, they see me dancing for these girls and they're giving me money and stuff. And my dad being like, Jesus, this kid, now he knows he can make money doing it. Fuck. And I just loved it, and I love attention. I like being the person that makes people happy in a room, you know, at my expense too. I think back in my early 20s and stuff, I would have broke my fucking bones doing stupid shit if I can get laughs out of it. So I always, you know, and then being in bands and being social like that, it just went hands in hands. However, I think, without getting into it too deep, if I would have been handed that fame and shit at too early, like Shannon's early life or something, and the LFD would have went complete and we would have got signed and shit, who knows if I would have been alive still, because I'm an extreme person too.
Oh, dude, me too.
Like,
me too.
You give me an inch, dude, I'll fucking take the mile, you know? So who knows, like, maybe it was like, just wait, hold on. You're going to be writing jingles for underwear commercials later. And you can quit your job. Like Trent Reznor and shit. Nicole was blown away that she hit me up the other day and she's like, do you know who wrote and who got Grammys for that movie Soul for doing their whole score of the music? And I'm like, without even Googling it, I'd say Trent Reznor. Oh, you Googled that. I was like, no, that's what he does. That's how he makes a lot of his money.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
That's what he does now.
Music.
Dude,
yeah.
he makes stuff for David Fincher.
Yeah, he
all
does
the David
all
Fincher
kinds
movies.
of shit. And he has so much credited just in that aspect. And see, I don't think I'm a behind the scenes guy, maybe, but fuck, it'd be fun. I don't know. It would have been awesome. It would have been great, but I YouTube tons. I'm really into knowing not just the artist, but their story. So there's a lot of sad stories that come with people that are famous, like even comedians, fucking musicians. They have some sad stories.
Well, dude, that's usually what it takes. Nobody wants to hear a story about how your father was a hedge fund manager at Goldman Sachs,
right,
and is a multimillionaire,
right,
and you drove a fucking Rolls Royce when you were in high school, and then you did
like,
something.
Great.
They're like, okay, cool. No, people want to hear the story. Like, dude, DMX just died,
right,
and I never listened to DMX. I don't really listen to hip hop, but like, I'm fascinated with him as a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I saw that he...
And his 15 kids.
He's got a lot of kids.
A lot of fucking kids. DMX, baby! Busting nuts! What you want?
When I saw that I think he OD'd and then his brain stopped working.
He had a heart attack.
Is that what it was?
He was a crack smoker. He loved smoking crack, dude. He was into fucking methamphetamines and smoking crack.
Yeah.
So I think, from what I read, he was getting high or probably on a bender or whatever, and he fucking had a heart attack. So he had a heart attack, he had an overdose, and then he had a stroke. And then he went brain dead.
Then he went brain dead. And dude, you're not going to recover from that.
Even if you do come out of that, you're never going to be the same.
No. No, it's really good that he died within a couple days or whatever it was.
Instead of holding on to that, but yeah.
When all that went down, dude, I hadn't thought about DMX since high school.
Yeah,
I don't really care. And his book on Amazon just started fucking flying off the shelves.
Absolutely.
And dude, it's in my cart right now. I want to buy it and read it because apparently he just had like one of those super tragic, crazy lives that led to him getting famous. Like, dude, that's what it takes in a lot of situations is somebody who, because there's a million people who have that life and they just, nothing ever happens.
Right.
And, you know, they go to jail or they fucking die or whatever. But he found a way out of it somehow.
Yep.
And that's like, if he wouldn't have lived that life, he wouldn't have made it to where he was.
No, he probably would have died a lot younger.
Yeah.
And ironically, he was real religious too. I don't know if you know that about him. Yeah, he was like an ordained minister towards the end of his life. So I think he had one of those on his head, kind of like a lot of people, very, very, very close people that I know that have had, that are like, they're their own worst enemy because they're convicted by being religious and having these rules and things that he needs to be or aspire to be, but he is so addicted to drugs and his lifestyle is so this way. Like before they had shows and stuff, he'd be like, you know, his songs going into blood on my dick because I fucked the corpse, blah, blah. But before they're like, dear Lord, I just want you to please come above me, come on me and let me lead these people into what? You know, fucking and it's just like, okay. But I get it. He's conflicted, you know? He's dealing with his own conflict in his own mind, which is cool too.
Yeah, it's pretty wild though, man. Like, but
it's margarita, by the way.
It's not bad, right?
It's not bad.
But it's not like he's gonna. What is he gonna do? Just go clean and become a minister?
No. His lifestyle's too extreme. It's too. Too many people fucking live off of what, you know, his fans and who he is. They like once you become that big and that who you are, that's what you are.
Well, do you know about MC Hammer?
A little bit. I know he has some killer ass pants and he can dance like a motherfucker. Yeah. And he was too legit to quit.
Hair too.
Yeah.
He fucking blew up in the early 90s and made a ridiculous amount of money. Yeah. And he was such a generous person. He's taking care of his aunts and his uncles, everybody, his nephews and his cousins. And dude, he and his dancers, man, he's paying his dancers, good money. Really good money.
Right.
He was broke as shit within a couple years.
Yep. And then I know he got signed to Death Row Records. Did you know that at one point? He got signed to Death Row Records. He was part of Suge Knight's little posse and stuff. Like he went real dirty and dark and stuff. But he now also, fast forward, is a minister. They all come back to God, you know, and to being, after they lost their money and everything. Everybody except Vanilla Ice. I don't think he likes God. I don't think God likes him either. Really.
I like to imagine he just hangs out with Kid Rock all the time.
Kid Rock are just like on Trump's rallies and shit. Like they got their mega hats on, being like, and he's like, "Yo ninja, yo, Trump, 2024, do the right thing." But yeah, like all the black rappers, I think they go back to being ministers, which it probably has a lot to do with their upbringing too. Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
Well, that's the cool thing about Christianity, right? You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, as long as you pray like hell on your deathbed, you're getting in there.
Exactly.
Go kill fucking 95 people and sleep with a bunch of kids. But hey, as long as you say you're sorry to Jesus before you die, it's taken care of.
Uh-huh.
They're going to be real pissed when they find out we're living in a simulated module when you're dead. That's another thing.
The question is, whose simulation is it?
The aliens.
Aliens?
That one dude that's in the Ancient Aliens that has the fucking crazy hair, I think he got it all right.
The guy on History Channel?
Yeah, I think he's on to something. God, I get into some rabbit trails, dude. I don't know if you're the same way, but on YouTube and stuff, I'll start looking up somebody's net worth or what's Chino Marino up to these days. I know he's living in Portland. Cool. And before you know it, I'm like, oh God, simulation theory and the what's it called? The Mandela effect and like, you know about all that, like how
I've heard of it before, but
it's like how things like the Bernstein Bears are really the Bernstein Bears and how things have been changed throughout our, like Jiffy peanut butter is now Jif peanut butter, but was it really Jiffy before?
Yeah, it just changed, or you think it changed, but maybe it didn't, and it was just always that thing.
And it goes back to before I even know what the Mandela effect is. When Happy Gnome had our CD when we recorded, I had this poem called Death that I read before the song Death, and at the end. One part of the poem was yesterday, the same as today, with minor alterations to create an illusion so great that one wouldn't recognize. What happens if I do?
How do you remember that?
I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day, but that was the end of the poem. Seemed like yesterday is the same as today, but somehow we've spliced it and changed it, and now I fucking remembered that it was this way. So what happens when I remember that? And when I wrote that at the time, I think I was huffing gas. So I don't think it was. I think it was just like, whoa, man! Yesterday's the same day with minor alterations and creating this illusion.
It's
so
deep,
great,
bro.
But I remember I handed it in for English, and Mrs. Who's your guys' landlord? Remember when you lived by McManus and stuff on 11th Street?
Was she a teacher?
She was a teacher.
I can't not remember her name. I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember her name.
She asked me, she's like, you're a musician, so don't you do poetry? So I gave her that poem, and she had a book published for kids that did poems, and she put my fucking poem in. She asked if I could. I said, yeah, she put that poem in there. She changed some of the words because some of them were, fuck or whatever, but she published one of my poems, and then...
She trying to take credit for your...
No, she didn't try to take credit, but she put my name in a book and stuff, but... She published it, and she was like, that's crazy. And I'm like, I don't even know what it means. She goes, yeah, you don't know what it means, but I've read it a million times, and it means something. And now that I'm a fucking old-ass conspiracy theorist, I look at that last word, I'm like, who was saying that to me?
Dude, it makes me wonder, I've thought about this a lot, like, it makes me wonder if the sweet spot is kind of like maybe 16 to 26,
right.
Where like something cool is happening in your brain,
right?
And that's when a lot of artists produce their best work. Like
right.
maybe it's just because you haven't like gotten into the rut of being a 37-year-old with
right.
3 kids. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're still in like this weird zone where you don't quite know what you're doing. You don't know where you're gonna go, and you haven't figured the world out. And like,
well, I'm gonna be an empty nester in 2.5 years.
But what I'm saying is that your brain was different then.
Oh, gotcha.
Like you couldn't have written the thing you wrote then now.
No, probably not. No.
And it still doesn't make sense to you.
No.
Like you wrote it when you were fucking, what'd you say, 17?
16.
Yeah.
15, 16.
Like, what is
It's like
that?
my kid writing that and then me reading it and being like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yesterday the same as today.
Yeah. You huffing gas?
Yeah. Let me smell your breath, dude. Diesel. Good shit.
Yeah, all right.
Good shit.
All right.
Yeah, but it started like, I can't even remember. It's like talking about the clowns saturate their teeth in filth and fucking just all this shit. And now I wish I had it written down somewhere, but I could write it down and it, like, or if I just got Happy Gnome's old EP or whatever we did, and that was at the beginning of it, so I was listening to it while we were practicing to do our reunion gig, and that's when I was like, oh yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool.
It's got to be pretty cool to be a high school teacher and you just get to witness, or even a college, like a professor or something. You get
right.
to witness, like, when you are that age, you think, you're trying so hard to think that you're grown up and
right.
You want respect and all this kind of stuff, and you don't want people to treat you like a little kid, but you don't realize that you are just a little kid.
Yeah.
And then to be somebody in charge of like teaching those kids and like allowing them to investigate ideas and everything, that's got to be such a crazy job.
Yeah.
You just get to witness all these people just with like the most insane ideas they'll ever have.
And then later on you see them or you hear about their progression and what they've done. You know, like we went to school with people that are doctors and shit now, you know? And we've also been to school with people that are junkies. And then everything in between. All of us that punch into our jobs and do our fucking job Monday through Friday or whatever schedule you're working at. Like we got a party with all of our friends the other night and seeing what everybody's doing now and talking. Like I got to talk to each individual person that was at the party at your house and be like, oh, wow, you're doing that? Oh, shit, you're doing this? Oh, that's cool. You know, but everybody's doing something. But everything's different.
Yeah.
And is it what you thought you'd be doing when you were 16?
No.
Me neither. I would never know I was going to fucking be looking at polls and like writing up violations and stuff to correlate to different companies to fix their shit, you know?
So what do you think what would be better? What do you wish you were doing?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I talked about this to Fargo the other day. We were at work and we were like, dude, I'm tired of fucking doing this shit. Like everybody's had this conversation with their best friends or whatever. They're like, dude. And then Farger said the same thing. He goes, yeah, but what could we do that would make us feel better about what we're doing?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Same here, dude.
I don't know.
I've been doing what I do long enough where I don't really care about it anymore. Like I don't get anything out of it.
Right.
I'm good at it because I've done it for a long time.
Right.
I make decent money. I can't go do something else and make the same amount of money.
Exactly.
And so like
Exactly.
I'm kind of stuck where I am.
Yep.
And I would quit and do something else, but like what am I going to do?
But then you're going to give up all the things that you know, we go to these jobs and we do these things to pay for things that we really don't need. And Nicole and I came to that realization about 2 years ago, and we downsized. I had like a storage unit in the Dalles full of fucking shit that we just kept taking from point A to point B to point A to point B. Just go. I was like, we never even see this shit. So we got rid of all of it. When my brother went to prison, I had to put his stuff in a unit, and I had to get rid of mine. I was like, we're getting rid of ours. So I got rid of our shit. Then we went to our apartment. We started looking through and taking stuff out. We don't need this. We threw away probably a third of our life with like 2 years ago. Yeah. And I feel so much better about it. I could probably do it again. But then I start, like, my big thing is music equipment. I have a shitload of it. And I have it at little places everywhere because I live in an apartment. Oops. But I could get rid of most of that, a lot of that too, you know, and be fine. But I have an unwritten rule not to sell or get rid of
There's some stuff not worth getting rid of, like, I don't know, like some crazy effects pedal from the 60s, you know, like shit like that.
Yeah.
I hang on to stuff like that. But, dude, I moved so often when we were younger. I would move every 6 months.
Right.
So I never owned a couch. I never owned a bed.
Right.
You know, I just have like a mattress that
but
I put
you're
on
recently just getting new furniture.
Yeah, dude, that's the couch you saw the other night. That's the first couch I bought.
See, now that you say that, I didn't
I'm
even
37 years old.
I didn't even think about mentioning that. And I remember you be sitting on your floor and you were talking to me on Marco Polo. I'm like, Maxwell, you sit on your floor? And you're like, fuck. Is that it?
There's the one that was in the living room. And then we brought it here and I didn't have a couch for 4 days. So I sat on the floor.
Well, that's a nice couch. And it fit everybody on it.
Exactly. This one's too small, dude. There was no way all those people wouldn't fit.
Well, and you moved your TV now, I think, to this part of your house instead of it was over here. Yeah. It looks good, Maxwell.
Thanks.
You're growing up, buddy.
I'm becoming an adult.
Cheers. You're getting yourself some furniture. If it wasn't for Nicole, I probably wouldn't have any fucking furniture or anything.
Dude, it's one of those things that like I don't really want to spend money on. I'd always just wait for my parents to get new stuff.
Yep.
And then they didn't
get their old shit.
I get their old shit. Yeah,
we did it too.
Yeah.
We used to, every time Nicole's parents upgrade to something, if the other kids don't want it or don't need it, like we bought their leather couches for real cheap, really nice leather couches, and we did the same with their washer and dryer. Nicest washer and dryer I've ever owned. But they upgraded and got something better, so we get that.
Dude, it reminds me of that, I think it's in Old School, where Will Ferrell's like, the guy's like, what are you doing today? And he's like, oh, you know, me and the wife, we're going to go down to Home Depot.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Nice little Saturday.
Yeah.
And if we have time, we'll go to Bed Bath & Beyond or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're sitting there like, you want a beer bong? And he's like, do it. And or he's like, I'll do one. And he feels so good once it hits your lips. Fill another one, Frank the Tank. God damn it, that is me, dude.
Yeah,
as soon as I'm like, hey, okay, babe, we're going to go have a couple drinks tonight. Our friends are going to whatever. And as soon as I get myself into whatever I'm doing that night, boom, dude. I just, no, what are you doing tomorrow? Who gives a shit? What am I doing right now?
That's living in the now, man.
Yeah, way living. And you know what? I've slowed that down quite a bit because I was living in the now way too much in my early 20s. Yeah. If I was living in the now every fucking day since then, I don't know. I think my heart can handle a lot, but I don't know. Probably can't handle too much more of that shit.
Yeah, I think about this a lot, like a defining moment in your life where like things changed and you had to do something different. And if like sometimes when I'm just in the shower or driving somewhere or something and like my brain just starts to wander,
right?
Like, I imagine my life as like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
You know, and like there's millions of options like where it could have went based like me drinking this. It's like the butterfly effect. Right. Me drinking this water right now maybe means I get cancer in 10 years. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
You know, but like I think for you and I both, like because we had kids at a young age.
Yeah. Well,
that kind of made us change what we were doing.
Had to.
That was like the ultimate moment in our lives where we're like, fuck, we can we can be losers, or we can take care of this person and change what we're doing.
How many people do you know in your life? And I know without mentioning names or even, and it's not a fucking holier than thou type thing, but I know a handful of people I can think of that didn't choose to change anything about their lives, even having kids. Or, I'm not saying everybody has to stop what you're doing and completely, but you do have to make some fucking changes for the better, or try to. Mm-hmm. And, it took me a little bit to fucking do that. First few years of Shan's life, I think I could have probably been better or done better. But none of my friends and none of the people that I was around had kids besides you shortly after.
You were what, 19, 20?
I was 20, just turning 21. I think she got pregnant when I was 20, and then maybe we had Shannon right after. Oh, no, August. So I was just about to turn 21.
Yeah. Dude, my mom was 19 when she had me.
God damn. Yeah. I didn't know that.
My grandma was 15 when she had my uncle.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
How old was your grandpa? Was he a lot older than her?
No, I think she was 15 and he was like 19.
Like 25.
It was a different time, Pando. It was okay back then.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So to us think that we were young, that really wasn't that young.
No, I mean
it was, but to our standards.
I say this all the time. That is the age you're supposed to have kids. Well, you just don't now in this society.
Yeah.
Because if you have a kid when you're in high school, you're fucked.
You are way fucked.
You can't go to college.
No, and everything's so expensive.
Oh, dude, you're in big trouble. You're probably not going to stay with whoever the father is. Mm-hmm. Your life's fucked. You can't get pregnant in high school. That's bad. But you go back 100 years, 150 1 million years, that's when you're supposed to get pregnant, between 16 and 25.
Do you notice a lot more people are choosing, a lot of younger people are choosing not to have kids too?
Oh yeah. Dude,
have you seen that?
Japan has a serious issue because none of their young people are getting married. I don't think they're getting married, but they're absolutely not having kids.
Well, I know a couple of friends of mine that have gotten or have gotten or getting a vasectomy, being younger than I am, because
we said we were going to talk about this
because they're choosing not to live the life, which is fine. And then there's also a correlation that's it's like an activist vegan. I don't know if they're a vegan, but it's an anti-humanization act that's happening right now. Have you heard that? Mm-mm. It's called. They want the human population to become extinct, so that the Earth can rebuild itself to its natural state.
Dude, you don't have to make that happen. No, it's gonna happen.
It's an anti. Yeah, look it up. I was looking up the other day. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a guy that's in charge of. It's an anti-humanization act, and they're not like a terrorist organization, so to speak, or like they want everybody to die. They just want everybody to stop having kids. Like right now, they devote their life into fucking not having kids.
That is the basis of Idiocracy, the movie, right? The only people who have kids are the stupid asses. Yeah. And all the smart people are like, I'm going to wait until I'm 47, you know? And then they decide not to. So the world just gets populated with a bunch of fucking idiots.
And that one guy that was trying, but he couldn't remember. It's like later on, like Bubba started like this chain reaction to keep, and he was just like, that guy ended up, they kept going and interviewing him. Well, he's trying, but my eggs are frozen. And then he ended up dying, like masturbating, trying to fucking make sperm to make a kid.
Yeah.
And he was like the smart, intelligent life of what we had.
Yeah.
And Bubba's kids just fucking. Brrr.
Yeah. No, dude, that is like, it's supposed to be parody, but it's gonna be true.
Oh, Idiocracy. It's so funny. And like the president of that movie, what's his name?
It's
the guy that flexes
Terry Crews.
Yeah, and he's just like driving around shooting his gun. Fuck you, motherfucker! Drinking a beer and like Taco Bell presents the President of the United States, Macho Camacho Dorito, fucking whatever his name is.
Yeah,
scary dude. Man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's, and not to get political at all, but if you think about it, how nice has it been? Like I said, anybody watching this, no political affiliation needed for this statement, to not hear about our president every fucking 5 minutes on the news.
Dude, the thing that bugs me is that
I haven't heard shit about.
Okay, so I'm reading this book right now, and it's called Hate Inc., and it's by Matt Taibbi, and he is a journalist, and he's been covering. He was a liberal writer for the Rolling Stone, and he's been covering politics for like his entire career, and he wrote this awesome book that I'm only like 40 pages into. But it's basically just saying like both sides they have the same goal.
Absolutely.
It's to make you hate
each other,
hate the other side.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah. And so the thing that bugs me right now is like, even though Trump isn't in office anymore, there's so many liberal outlets that still try to use his name to get you fucking pissed off and fired up.
Because
and
he's not being brought up enough.
He's not in here. We're done talking about him.
Well, and Trump's got to give credit. I think a lot of times why he brings up the media too is because he fucking probably loves the media. Think about it. They've made his name. He won that fucking election because every single time you watched a debate and stuff, they had him center stage. Yeah. Everything was focused on him. The questions were directed. And then like Rubio or fucking Mayor Pete would be like, blah, blah. He's just like, all right, gay guy, or whatever fucking Trump would oh, here he comes with his fucking questions again. Yeah. Or talking shit about everybody. And then once he became president, they're just like, oh, he's actually not that bad.
Yeah. No, we can get behind
Ted Cruz, he attacked his fucking wife directly all the time. And Ted Cruz is just like, it's okay.
I know.
You shoppy little turtle.
He called his dad the Zodiac Killer.
I know. And he's just like,
he's like, I think I'll vote for him next year.
I watched, did you watch the Jimmy Kimmel and him play basketball? They played basketball for a charity. And while they're playing, they're mic'd up, dude. And Jimmy just kept giving Ted shit, dude. Like they'd stop and he's just like, hey, he's like, come on, let's play. And he's like, hey, Ted, is it harder defending me or defending Trump for everything that he does? And it's just like, oh, fuck. And like, they're just going at it.
Yeah.
But, anyways, I didn't want to talk about politics, but it's just funny to me. It's kind of nice. But like you said, there was another statement that was made. Like you said that each Democrat, Republican are same goal. It was something like...
That's the goal of the media, is to make you hate the other side.
Yeah.
They use fear to make you hate the other side.
Yeah. It's a divide.
They both do the same thing. Fox News is just as bad as CNN.
True that.
They're the same thing. They're just on different sides. Yeah. And they're fucking trying to make you hate everybody. You know?
And I'm sure all those politicians may rumble in front of the cameras, but off camera, they're just like, whatever. We're rich. We're getting paid.
That's what it's about. It's about ratings. Shit? And Trump was very, very good for ratings. You had to decide if you were going to support him or you were going to hate him. But there's no middle ground with Trump.
But he was blowing up everything.
Oh, yeah. No. Everything. And that's the only reason he's like a... I think of that little weird thing that grows out of the ground in Little Mermaid. You know, when she like captures their voice or whatever and they become the little...
Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched that movie, Maxwell.
I hadn't seen it in 20 years and I watched it with my kids recently. It reminds me of that. Like if you don't feed him with the attention, he just withers and
dies and goes away.
And everybody just we're fucking talking about him right now.
We're talking about him, yeah. Yeah. Well, politicians should have to wear like their suits and jackets should be like NASCARs. You know, like a NASCAR has like McDonald's logo on it or fucking Coca-Cola or something. Imagine like a senator or governor coming into like the Senate and stuff, and they have to wear like Pfizer or Moderna or fucking Coca-Cola or McDonald's or whatever fucking pharmaceutical company that's lining their pockets so they can vote on a bill to fucking make it legal for them to fucking push that drug. That'd be cool to see them in that jacket and be like, oh, that's who you really are. Yeah. You're not Christian fucking whatever, you are fucking Pfizer bot, whatever, robot.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. I think that they should, and they did that in Idiocracy. Remember, he had like his vest or whatever was lined with sponsorships.
Yeah. Well, Bernie would show up in his underwear.
I'm not bought, not paid for. I'm not paid for.
Yeah.
Well, or they have to get tattoos. That'd be cool too. Like they have to get face tats, like Post Malone or something. Like it's in McDonald's. Pfizer.
Yeah.
Moderna.
Yeah.
Johnson & Johnson. I don't know. That'd be cool.
All right, I'm gonna take a piss.
Take a piss, Maxwell. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna sit here and look at myself. There we go. Okay. Where were we?
Okay, so there was one thing. It was because you're a musician and I'm
right.
It's easy to talk to you about this. I wanted to see what you thought about like. So when you are capable, when you do something that's creative and you have to channel that. Like I talked to Galen about this a little bit. Like That's a wild thing that you can just out of nowhere create something and be responsible for it and be like, holy shit, like not even like, oh, I'm so awesome, I'm so good at stuff, but just to like make something up, like Pink Dog Wiener. Like, dude, just when you finish doing that, you're like, holy shit, dude, I just made that up. Where did that come from?
Well, when I was playing with the Misbeats, I think is when I wrote Pink Dog Wiener.
I forgot about the Misbeats, dude.
Well, we were playing. So I was living. You were living there too, kind of on out in 207th and Sandy, and we were playing a lot of shows like in Corvallis and Eugene, and like Ryan was booking us all over the more or less the college circuit. And Pink Dog Wiener was right before then. I wrote that in our apartment, taking bong hits. I wrote Pink Dog Wiener, and it means nothing besides that was a saying that all of us used to call each other pink dogs. Fucking Pink Dog Wiener. And you guys know what the Pink Dog Wiener is. If you're watching out there, it's when the dog gets the fucking lipstick and it comes out and it's a Pink Dog Wiener. But we used to all call each other Pink Dog Wieners. So I wrote that. And then when we were recording Mugged and Raped in Seattle, the Misbeats were when I actually got mugged, not raped, but me and Adrian got mugged up in Seattle.
Yeah, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, we were up in Seattle recording our album. Mugged and Raped in Seattle is what we ended up calling it after that. I think it was just going to be like the Misbeats something, but we ended up changing the name to that. And Adrian and I were out drinking, walking around the Space Needle. We were staying down at the Holiday Inn downtown. Ryan worked for the Holiday Inn at the time, so he got really good rates. And I just got done tracking all my drum tracks. I think Adrian had most of his guitar tracks, so I wasn't 21 at the time. I was 19, so we couldn't go to any bars. So I was walking around and we're smoking weed and drinking, taking shortcuts back to the hotel, and we got halfway through this alley, and fucking 5 dudes come running down one side. I was like, oh shit, and they beat the fuck out of us. Just wrecked our world. Took our beers, took Adrian's pretty much weed right out of his mouth. I went to give him my wallet. They kicked me against the fence, started beating me. I was like, I'm just giving my fucking wallet. So anyways, I gave it to him. We show up at the hotel all beat up, and Ryan's like, what the fuck? So he calls the police. The police show up, and they're like, so you guys were buying prostitutes in the alley. We're like, no, we just told you we got beat up, and are you going to take our statement? So they took what we said, and they're just like, dude, what were you guys doing by the Space Needle at midnight? And we're like, we're walking around. I go, I've never been to Seattle in my life. My band's recording a CD, and we were just seeing the sights. He's like, well, this isn't fucking part of Seattle that you want to see the sights. And we're sorry. So he thought we were just buying hookers in the alley, me and Adrian, and we weren't. But I mean, we couldn't.
These facts.
We couldn't change this guy's mind, this police officer's mind. So he left.
But I wonder if that's like a notorious spot to pick up hookers.
It must be. Yeah. And I still don't know. I guess it's really bad. That area is like kind of like the epicenter of what happened in Portland, like the whole riots and the protests. Like that's kind of how the area was there. Besides, it's even lower. I think it'd be more like Burnside and Chinatown, I guess. So, anyways, the song was this. That's how the origin of the song came from. And then I got back, and then Ryan's like, dude, you got to write. That song wasn't even on our album because it just happened then. But we named the album Mugged and Raped, and then I came back and I wrote Mugged and Raped in Seattle. So I just sat in my apartment and was thinking about like the lyrics are like, there was a path, future side of the bloodbath. Little did we know, and we're getting our beat up, you know. Mm-hmm. They laughed, they kicked, we screamed, we battled, we were mugged and raped in Seattle. Mm-hmm. So that's like the basic, parts of it. And the whole song was written about just the different parts that we went through. So I wrote the basic of it on the guitar. I brought it to Adrian, and he fucking just made it a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. And we played that song, and that was one of the things like Pink Dog Wiener, Mugged and Raped Seattle, Japanese Squeeze. I'm writing a new song. The fuck did I name it? Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart.
I think you said it at the start.
Oh, Lockdown Liver.
Yeah.
So it's just stupid, silly songs, but a lot of it has meaning. The only song that does not have meaning is Pink Dog Wiener.
That's the cool thing about doing creative stuff, though. Like, as shitty as that was, like, if it wouldn't happen, you wouldn't have
wrote the song.
Yeah. And dude, that's the thing. No offense to people that are like cautious and play it safe and everything, but like if you don't go out and do stuff, nothing's ever going to happen to you.
No, you got to test the limits. You got to live life too. Like during this pandemic, how many people? And I know we all did it when it first started. None of us knew what the fuck it was. It was so new. We didn't know if we were going to touch a surface of something, if we were going to die the next day. That's what we were fed and told it was going to happen. Turns out it's a really bad cold that's killing a very, very, very low amount of people. However, the whole world was changed by that. I went to my band played over on Misdemeanor Meadows. Next day I was at Tool. During Tool, my phone's blowing up. MLB cancels its season. NBA cancels its season, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So I'm showing Nicole, and she's like, oh, whatever. What does that mean? I don't know. And I'm like, dude, the world is shutting down. Like, I'm surprised they're not like, hey, show's canceled. Maynard, get off the stage right now. And he ended up. I read that he had COVID during that show.
He got it twice.
Yeah,
and he apparently had it really bad.
Yeah, real bad. Like he went to the hospital and there wasn't enough room and shit. He like went home and dealt with it the second time around. But he released a statement saying during that show he had like early symptoms of COVID. So he was actually having it. And I remember walking around that night at the Moda Center and seeing maybe 10% of people having masks on. And I remember thinking that was so weird.
People had masks on that early?
Because
that was like March 14th or something?
And it was just starting to be released that it was already happening in China, happening in China and everywhere, but it was just slowly starting to happen here.
Yeah.
And so the show that we had that Hired Hounds played with the night before, the band that was supposed to open didn't even show up because they thought the show was going to be shut down because of COVID.
Yeah.
And like they had to call the band and be like, where the fuck are you? Like, oh, is the show still happening? So like 2 of the members showed up and then we were already setting up and they're like, well, hey, can you just play this set real quick and then we'll come on and play a couple songs? I'm like, no, fuck you. You're not playing. We're playing.
Yeah.
But like nobody was wearing masks there. But like, yeah, dude, at the Tool show, there was like so many people wearing masks. Like at least 10% of like the whole place. And then after that, it was just like the world shut down. You know, I went back to work Monday, no traffic. I was working in St. John's.
There was no traffic for like
a long time.
9, 10, 11 months,
It's just starting again now, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Remember, we have COVID. Can you go back to not going to work? It was so nice when you fuckers went on the road.
Dude, that's the cool thing about... So I started doing this a few months before COVID, but like I did a bunch of episodes, obviously, since it happened.
Right.
And dude, they're all like little time capsules.
Yeah, it is.
Because we didn't... Like, everything changed over time. And, and we usually ended up talking about it. And dude, it's so wild. Just you go back, dude. I look at pictures from like December 2019, and I'm like, we had no idea what was going to happen.
Coming around the corner. No,
like
nobody
everything
knew.
is so different now.
If somebody could have gone back in a time machine and like Marty McFly'd it up, and came back to you and was like, dude, in 6 months everything's gonna be shut down. People are gonna be worried about getting a cold.
Yeah.
And fucking, you're not gonna be able to go to concerts or go to restaurants. You're gonna be like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what scares me about this because we're doing this little. I feel like we're in a test stage. Like when 9/11 happened. And the first part, I believe we're in the middle of Patriot Act 2.0.
Yeah.
Like the first part was, okay, we can tap your phones without anybody even telling you. That's Constitution. No, this is what we're going to do in the name of patriotism. And now it's like, now everybody's getting vaccinated, which I've gotten my first Pfizer shot. I got my second one Tuesday. But I have this thing where going into my liquor store now, and it's like, you are allowed to walk in without your mask if you're willing to show your full vaccination card to the cashier.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa. So, and then now they're like, the Blazers just had a playoff game, and they're allowing like 6,000 people to be in there. But they have sections for people that have their vaccination card. If you're vaccinated, everybody can sit together right here. But don't worry about mingling with these fucks that decide not to get their shot. So if that's how it's going to be now, what's next?
Dude, I saw something.
RFID chips in our fucking hands where we have to do currency that way?
I can't remember what it was, but it was admission to something. Maybe it was a baseball game or something.
And you had to show your card?
Fuck. It was like the tickets for it were $50 if you could prove that you were vaccinated, and they were $1,000 if you weren't vaccinated. So like
so lame.
If you try to look at it from one perspective, you're like, okay, I get it. Like they're trying to make sure that people are are being safe and they're doing the right thing, and they're lessening the chance of it spreading to other people.
Sure.
But also, you can't just make something like that a requirement for society.
For everything.
And to prove it, too.
Yeah.
Like, I was telling you earlier that I'm trying to go to Europe this summer.
Yeah.
I was not going to get the shot.
Yeah.
Because I'm 37, I'm young, I'm healthy.
I felt the same way.
I have no reason to get it. I don't not believe it, but I'm like, give it to an older person who really needs it.
Who
like,
really needs it, yeah.
I don't need it. But for me to go to Europe this summer,
yeah, you're going to have to show your...
I cannot go unless I get vaccinated.
Absolutely.
Even now, I'm one shot in. I got my next one, I think it's next week. I was looking at each European country has different rules.
Right.
And the Netherlands, even now, like right now, I need to check it, but they still haven't updated it. When you fly into Amsterdam, you have to have a negative COVID test result within 24 hours of getting on the plane.
Right.
And then you still have to quarantine for 10 days when you get there. And so that's going to fuck my whole vacation. I can't go there and just hang out in Amsterdam for 10 days.
My boss had to do that. He has a house in Hawaii, and as of 6 months ago when he went, he had to do that. He had to have a negative test and he had to quarantine for 10 days. Plus, I was like, yeah, how are they going to know if you're quarantined? The National Guard showed up to his house twice while he was there.
To check on him?
To make sure that if he wasn't at his house, he would have been asked to leave the island.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he said, yeah, they actually came twice at the beginning, like 2 days in, and then like towards the end, just to make sure. So he took a whole month and stayed there instead of 2 weeks because he had to quarantine for 10 days.
Wow.
And they checked on him.
That's like some New Zealand type stuff. I looked at going there instead of Europe because, dude, they're having concerts with 50,000 people.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are no
restrictions?
No. There's no positive cases of COVID in New Zealand. Like they're like some crazy island in outer space, man, where nobody has it.
Wow.
So they're fucking having concerts and shit.
They're like, fuck it. And all the bands that never would go there are probably touring there now.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
we'll go to like the 5 places in New Zealand and just do it like 3 times.
Yeah.
So you're getting to see all the cool bands. You don't just get to see Silverchair anymore. You can actually see like fucking no more just AC/DC and Silverchair. Everybody gets to go.
In excess.
What about but here in the US, dude, like in the Midwest and in Texas and like Auburn University and Alabama and shit, they are not going to have any regulations for the college games and stuff. So like I'll call it like football games and stuff, 50,000 people are going to be in the stands, no social distancing and stuff. That's what they're saying. So now like the Pac-12 and like Oregon State, Oregon, Washington, USC, none of them are going to play any of these schools until they change their regulations on how they're going to do what they want to do, because they're not going to intermingle our kids with that shit. So everything's divided, dude.
Yeah, I don't know why it can't be about personal choice anymore.
Absolutely.
Like, if you are really that worried about it,
Then don't do it.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Then don't go to a movie theater.
Yeah.
If you are willing to risk your life,
Yeah.
like we talked about this the other night, I think. Like when you drive a car, you take a risk. When you fly in an airplane, you take a risk. When you go bungee jumping, you take a risk.
Yeah.
Like life is full of risks.
Yeah.
Like you can't just fucking tell people they can't do stuff because they have a very slim possibility of dying.
Yeah.
Like then what are they going to ban food? You can choke on the food. You can fucking die from eating food.
Cars, driving, working, anything you do, you have a risk. We have a higher risk of dying with anything that I do in my life besides getting COVID. They should just invent like COVID glasses where you put them on and you could see if somebody's talking, if there's COVID shit coming out of their mouth. He's like, whoa, bud. Stop the conversation.
Yeah.
Get a COVID glasses or something.
Yeah, man. I went and saw my doctor for like my annual checkup, and he asked me. He's like, he's super cool. Like, he started spilling his guts, dude. He was asking me. He was telling me about how he ate mushrooms in college.
Oh, your doctor was?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, fuck.
It was an awesome conversation I had with him, and we were talking about ecstasy and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, wow.
But he's probably 40, 45.
Yeah.
He's a young, healthy man.
Yeah.
And he asked me, he's like, are you going to get the shot? And I was like, I don't plan on it. And he goes, are you going to travel? And that's when I was like, yeah, I'm going to
He's like, you better get it.
He's
then.
like, if you're going to try to go to Europe, you're going to have to get it. And I was like, okay. And so he said to me, he's like, I get it. He goes, this is my fucking doctor who works at Providence, who's a respected man in the medical community.
Sure.
He told me I wouldn't get it if I were you.
That's what he said?
That's what he said. My
Wow.
doctor.
Wow.
He's like, I get it. He goes, there's no reason for you to put this random set
Who
of
knows?
chemicals
Yeah.
in your body.
What it's going to do in 20 years to us.
Yeah, because like I don't get the flu shot.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
like
either do
I would rather let my body try to figure out how to beat it. Like that's what bodies do. They're supposed to fucking beat
Sure.
shit. Otherwise you die. And so he told me that, and then he said that the only reason that he got it was because they basically forced him to.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what everybody's doing. They're like, I wouldn't get it, don't do it. But I had to because...
He had to.
Yeah.
He said, he goes, I don't have to. They didn't make it mandatory, Providence. But if I didn't do it, my life would be so difficult. It's not worth it. He's like, I have to get a test every single day. If I ever tested positive,
Then you're screwed.
I have to go home for 2 weeks and quarantine. He's like, it's just easier if I get it done. And he's like, I wouldn't do it either, but they're basically forcing me to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening in the medical community.
Plus, it's
and
happening everywhere. That's the
anybody,
scariest thing about this thing, dude.
anybody that speaks out against it is like automatically labeled
Yep.
like some far right crazy Trump supporter
Yeah.
who fucking hates science. And it's like, no, we're not dealing with smallpox or polio
Right.
or HIV. Like it's not
No.
that level.
And it's like I said, and I always said, I'm not scared of the disease, the virus, or at all. I'm scared of where it's going from here. Like not where it's morphing to or anything. It's like, where is our society going from here? Now that it's like, okay, we already know what the powers that be, can do. Government take away from us like that unconstitutionally. Well, what's next?
Yeah.
What's going to be? I mean, it doesn't even have to be 3 or 4 years down the line. We're talking, like you said, 2019, we're partying, we're hanging out. All of a sudden, 2020 comes, we're like, everything's changed. It could happen overnight.
Yeah, then I mean, you get to the point where you just like you want to go to a concert, and you have to show some card to prove something about yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man, that's a slippery slope.
Yep.
I had the conversation with my parents, and they're like, "It's really not that big a deal," and I was like, "It's not. I'll get the shot. I don't care. Like
Yeah.
whatever." But that opens the door
For all kinds of shit.
other things to happen later on. That's what like what you're saying. That's what I'm worried about. Where does it go from
my
here?
My dad was like, because Nicole got hers shots really early, and my dad did, and he was like, I haven't at this point. I had one, but he was just like, pretty much, you got to do it. Like after I told him I was going, he was like, "That good boy," you know. And Shannon has got his first shot. My son, he's 15. And I told him that. I said, well, Shannon's joining the one shot club. And then my dad's like, what does one shot mean? Does that mean he gets to pick who he wants to play baseball for? And I'm like, Dad, you're way overthinking this. He's got his Pfizer shot. And he's like, oh, good for him. Doing his part, you know?
Yeah.
And Shannon even said that. He's like, well, Dad, I am doing my part. It's like, do you know what that fucking means, dude? Anyway.
I think there's a lot of people who have good intentions behind it, but
Right.
there are other people far above us who have different plans.
They have different plans for this.
Yeah.
This is a very thought out chess game right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wild time to be alive.
Fuck yeah. I love it.
But dude, like whenever I get super down on it, I think about like I'm way into World War II and the Nazi Party,
Sure.
and everything that happened in that era. And dude, Hitler started that whole campaign in, I think it was September of 39, and the war didn't end until May of 45. So it was almost 6 years. We did 1 year of this ridiculous shit, and it's not done yet, but it's getting better. Can you imagine what it would have been like for 6 fucking years? Like
Being a Jew in one of those countries.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Not just living through the times, like us being in America, and I'm sure our kids, like they were put, like, you know, the Germans and the Nazis want to invade here, but imagine living in Austria or, you know, Germany or any of these countries during that time and being Jewish. And knowing like it's just a matter of time before they invade through your country and start lining you up.
Yeah.
Not just shooting you there, but like taking you away from your family and putting you in these concentration camps.
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
fuck.
Yeah. No, it's a wild time in human history.
And there's people that deny it.
Wasn't even that long ago.
There's people that deny it to this day. I was just watching you know who Anthony Jeselnik is? The comedian. Have you seen any of his comedy shows?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yesterday I was watching some of it, and he was just like, he's like laughing at his own joke, and he's like, I'm not laughing at this one. I'm laughing at the next one that's coming. And he was talking about how his mom's a terrible person. She's a terrible person. He's like, she was a Holocaust denier. She believed that it never happened. Everybody's like, oh, blah, blah. And he's like, they did an intervention on her and showed her all the shit that happened, like the real documented truth of the Holocaust. And he's like, and now she's done a 180. I'm proud of her, but she believes it didn't just happen once. He's like, she believes it's happened many times and it's still happening. And that was funny. Like his jokes are so dark.
Yeah, he's super dark.
Yeah. I like him though.
He's super funny, but yeah, he's his punchlines are so dark.
Well, he's just dry about it and real slow, and then he's just like, he throws it out there. Mm-hmm. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah, man, dude. I was listening to something the other day, some podcast where they're talking about like basically polluting your mind. And I always think of Inception, you know, where they got to break into somebody's brain and like put a note inside a vault. Mm-hmm. And that can like fuck your personality. Like if you so strongly believe that the earth is flat or that any number of things, you know, like if you get so hardcore into some certain belief, like that's a poison of your mind. Yeah. And dude, there's no way around that sometimes.
And you can't convince somebody that's set on something like that it's not really happened or it's not really truth.
When we were younger, when we were in our early 20s and I started reading a bunch of books about religion and stuff, I thought that I could talk to people and convince them that God wasn't real. And that it was like this made-up story by the Catholic Church and all this kind of stuff. And, dude, it took me 10 years to realize, like, people don't want to hear you tell them that they're wrong.
They want you to tell them that they're right.
Yeah.
Or that you believe.
Yes.
Christianity and Christians never... I grew up... We could talk about that for a minute, too, because I grew up in a way that... like, my mom came from a religious background. My dad kind of did, too. But my brother and his family were like really into religion, like he was a youth pastor and shit. Mm-hmm. And he was, he wouldn't mind me talking about this, but they were so involved, but it was almost like a cult-ish type of thing where you have to be 100% in on this thing or it's completely bad, like you're completely an outcast. So once he decided that wasn't for him or he wasn't going to do that anymore, I mean, that pretty much ruined his marriage and split everything up. And for the longest time, I was involved in it too for a little chunk of my life, and it really fucked with me into anybody that didn't believe, you're fucking burning in hell. Or if you did believe, then you have to live this certain life. I mean, you have to be the light, shine the light into people's eyes. And if you're not, or into people's lives, and you're not doing it, it's like if you're not for us, you're against us, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's terrible, man. That's a terrible way of living. You're scared. You're scared of death because you're scared to death of where you're going to go when you die.
Well, also, there's this thing built into the human mind where you naturally seek taboo items. Like you want to see or view or do the things you're not supposed to.
Absolutely.
And so it creates like this weird dichotomy. Like what we were talking about earlier. My brain just went dead. Fuck. Something where like something is so wrong, you inherently just want to do it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Story of my life. Somebody tells me no or not to do something, I automatically want to do it, or I want to go against what they're telling me to do.
That's why you see like these hardcore super church pastors. Like I forget the guy's name, but he's like
the smiley guy.
Oh man, I'd have to look him up.
The guy that's always like
he ran some church like out in Colorado somewhere, and dude, it was like a mega church. Yeah. And he's constantly preaching against homosexuality and
like Westboro Baptist shit.
Not that
God hates fags.
Not that guy, but similar.
Okay,
not quite that extreme, but yeah, he's like hardcore against homosexuality and
pray the gay away.
Yeah. And then
Jesus.
it comes out that he's sucking some dude's cock in a hotel room and doing a bunch of crystal with him.
Yeah. No, I know who you're talking about.
Ted Haggard.
Yeah, he was exposed. Maybe that's what it is. There's another guy. But yeah, the reason of being that is he feels so bad and probably about his secret life that he's telling people not to be doing what he's fucking doing, dude.
That's some dark shit, dude.
Christianity.
When I'm like, don't buy glass vases, and then I just got like a fucking warehouse full of them. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Well, it's because it's like practice what you preach, buddy. There's a show. It's with Danny McBride and John Goodman. The Righteous
Brothers.
No, the Righteous. It's their last name. The Righteous something.
Oh, God damn it,
Danny McBride, John Goodman.
I've seen the first season. Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah, dude, and I think it only has one season right now, but that is a perfect. They're taking the whole mega church and the what do they call them? The not prosperous church, but prosperity preaching, like preaching on like you do all this shit, you pretty much get money, and you like. There's that one guy that we could go on and on, but he gets cornered by Entertainment Tonight, and she's talking to him about, hey, so we heard you just bought blah blah blah's mega jet, and he's preaching that he can't fly commercial because he feels like he's in a tube of demons, and a tube of fucking demons, dude. And it could latch onto him and hinder his preaching. And it's like, dude, no, you want to fly in your personal fucking jet because you're a millionaire. Let's get that right now.
Yeah, man, dude, that's such an insane disconnect.
Well, because they're not fucking taxed by the government. It's a tax shelter.
Yeah.
So everything that they're doing, we pay taxes on, but yet they want COVID relief and shit.
Yeah, but dude, anytime, like, you can't even bring that up. Like,
no,
if anybody in Congress were like, you know what, we should take away tax exempt status from the churches, dude, people would freak out.
No. Well, that's where there's separation of church and state. Or as NoFX will put it, separation of church and state. Where it's like, yeah, well, you want to separate church and state, then you got to separate everything. Money-wise, everything. If you're not going to be... So why can't I start a religion? Which I probably could.
You can. Look at Scientology.
And be tax exempt. Exactly. And be tax exempt of everything and say, well, in the name of religion and separation of church and state, I don't have to pay you fucking shit.
You know what's ridiculous? All this stuff in here, I get to write off. I have an LLC.
And you can write it off.
I get to write this off.
No
I
shit.
think that is ridiculous.
Yeah. You know what else is ridiculous? Prisoners get a stimulus check.
Really? What can they spend it on?
My brother's buying a guitar.
He can get a guitar sent to him?
Yeah. Well, he has to buy it through the commissary of what they like, because everything's jacked up on prices. Like, I can't buy him a guitar and send him a guitar. He has to buy it through the prison because Snake River is privately owned. It's not even a government-owned institution. It's privately owned, and they make money on prisoners.
When he gets out, I want him to come hang out with me.
Absolutely. And dude, some of the shit, because he's monitored with all of our phone calls and everything. So there's some things we don't talk about, but it's like he's getting a stimulus check of what, $1,200?
14, I think.
Yeah. And fuck, dude, he's gonna buy a guitar, and he's gonna put everything, like, whenever he wants to get some snacks, and he doesn't eat a lot of snacks and stuff. He works. He's fucking, dude, he's like this big.
He doesn't eat a lot of snacks.
He's stacked, and he puts up like 300 pounds, dude. He's like really into health and shit right now.
What else are you gonna do?
Exactly.
If you're in prison, dude, that's why all those guys are jacked.
But they make so much money for somebody that owns that. There's somebody that owns that prison, dude.
No, I know. And that, dude,
they get paid through the government for each. I think like each person that's in prison, they get so much thousands of dollars, and they get free labor out of them.
Yeah,
you get jobs and stuff and free labor.
For-profit prison industry is a bad thing, dude.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't want to eliminate like Measure 11.
Exactly.
They want people going to prison
for a mandatory minimum sentence.
They make money off.
He got a 70-month sentence because it's mandatory minimum. Never get any good time. He's a pretty upstanding person in prison, but he's still a person in prison. And because of his Measure 11 crime, never get out early. Still got two more years.
Yeah.
So he's been in for 4.5 or whatever.
But so he has a bank account that he can access?
He has a prison account, through his, what's it called, a SID, his SID account. And so Nicole and I, or my dad, will put money onto it for like phone calls. We just bought him like $100 worth of shit. There's like every couple months they'll have this open account where we can get them like sausages and spreads and fucking coffees and blah 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 blah, because they make spreads in prison. Like they throw all their stuff together and they make like burritos and shit, because you get the same thing to eat every day.
So they can purchase additional food.
Yeah,
like
you
can get the fucking organic
you can get
avocados.
Yeah, and he says like, because he's been to county and prison and all that, he said it's way better. You can get your stuff in prison. The stuff that you can get in prison is way better than like county jail stuff. But yeah, as soon as he gets a stimulus, which it's been kind of in limbo for a while, he's gonna get a guitar and get, what else you can do? Jam out.
Can he watch this?
No, he can't go on YouTube. I don't think he can go on YouTube. I could ask him. Probably not though.
He can go to my website.
Possibly, yeah. I can give him that.
Cool.
Because he can get on like a tablet. You pay for tablet time and stuff, but everything's monitored pretty well, as long as you're not like looking on porn or some shit. And all of our videos, like we video chat once a week. They're all monitored and stuff. But
who is on Pornhub?
Yeah, I'm like showing him porn and shit. While I'm like, hey Nick, dude, check this out. This will get you through the night, brother. Hurry before they look.
He's like, it's all up here.
He's like, man, got it stored in the old spank bank. Yeah, it's not so bad though. Really, I mean, prison's not so bad. He's just ready to be done with it, So am I.
There's got to be a different system. Dude, I think there's for as advanced as we are right now. We got laptops, we got the internet, we've got electric cars and fast food. Like I can order food and somebody will bring it to me. Like for as much technology as we have, and as good as life is, like this is the best it's ever been.
Sure,
for sure.
Yeah.
But dude, there's so many things that we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And incarcerating people for significant amounts of time, and then just like releasing them into the world and not
transitioning them in any way. Like he has to go to a transitional house, I think, or like something for like a month, but they give you like, I think he said they'll give you like $100 for your bus ride out of there and to get to where you need to be, and then it's just like, okay, good luck.
It's like, fuck you. You're a felon forever.
Yeah.
Or is it 10 years?
Fuck, I think forever. I think he has assault charges and shit, so I think I don't know if those offenses will ever go away.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's no. You're not really trying to make people better. You're just trying to punish people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dude,
it's not a rehabilitation thing at all. It's throwing somebody in a cell. And since COVID happened, he doesn't even get his cell anymore. He was on like the honor housing and had not his own cell, but he's with another dude, like minimum type of dude, like minimum offender type guys. One of the guys that he was sharing a cell was a lifer, guy that killed somebody and stuff, but he's been there for so long. Like that's his life. But now they're living in dormitory living. Like that's better. Like they're taking all the low risk guys, like healthy young guys like my brother and stuff, and they're putting them all in a dorm and stacked beds of 3 down lines, and you're just like between like he's sleeping from here to that TV to another guy every night and shit, and you have everything that you own in that cot. He has a little TV that he flips out, little headphones he puts on, he gets to watch at night, It's crazy.
It's wild.
It's definitely something that he will learn from and never do anything to get him there again, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, it doesn't seem like that's the right path. I don't think the majority, I don't know what the percentage is, but I would guess like 80 or 90% of the people that are in prison or like long-term jail or whatever, like they shouldn't be there.
No.
In a lot of situations, you made a huge mistake, and then now you're just like throwing it away. Well, like it goes to like we know a couple people who were a few years older than a girl, and they had sex with them, and then they told their parents, and now their parents freaked, and
now they're for life.
Now they're sex offenders forever,
or even fucking not even doing like say you've had too much to drink. You jump in your car, you're driving home, somebody walks out in front of you, you run them over, hit them, you kill them, you're going to prison.
Yeah.
You are going to prison, and you're not you made a bad decision, but you're not a criminal.
Yeah.
You don't make criminal decisions, or you pay your taxes, you do everything, you raise your kids, you do it, but you fucking looked away for a minute, you've had 4 drinks, boom, you run them, even if you're not drunk, you're over the legal limit, you run them over, you kill them, you're going for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Involuntary manslaughter.
Yep. And you're fucked. and that shit's on you forever. I mean, I don't know people that have done that, but I mean,
well, dude, we know that guy that was driving down the hill when we were in high school.
Oh yeah,
and crashed the car and killed that girl.
Yeah,
and dude.
Yeah,
I don't know him, and I've never had a conversation with him about any of that stuff. But dude, just the fact alone that he killed somebody, like dude, that'll wreck you forever, man.
Yeah,
that'll wreck you. Like you don't need to sit in prison for 15 years or whatever,
like 6 or 7 years for that. Yeah,
dude,
every day you're gonna feel bad about that.
Oh my god, dude, you can't take that back.
Let alone have to sit in prison and do that.
Yeah, man.
But you know, like it. It's the way it's, and then I watch videos about these prisons like in third world countries where you can have your family live in prison with you. And
whose family's gonna go live with them in prison?
They're so broke and they have nothing. That the only source of income they had was the man that worked and stuff. So he goes to prison and they have these fucking like cells where you have your family live with you. You get out every day and you go work and you come back and then you have to go back to prison.
But
it's like Guatemala and all these fucking places.
But like,
yeah, and your family lives there with you.
Your grandma and your wife and your kids are just sleeping in the cell with you.
Yeah, they have a big enough cell, like probably half the size of this room, and they're living with you, and you're going to work every day.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh at it, but
no, it's true.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah, I know. I looked that up and I was like, wow, you're going to work every day, you're doing shit. The only thing is like, well, make sure to come back to prison tonight.
Is Nicole and Shannon gonna go with you?
Yeah, when I go to the Guatemala fucking Colombian prison for smuggling cocaine, and
she'd be like, "I love you, but I'm gonna stay in my house."
Nicole wouldn't she wouldn't go to prison with me. She'd be like, "Nah, dude, you're on your own." I'm like, "Come on, Shan, man, they have a really cool baseball team in Colombia, that Colombian institution of fucking dipshits. Let's go."
That's great.
What else we got?
I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
You wanna? What are we gonna do? What do you want to do for the intro?
Did we do Pink Dog for...
We did Pink Dog for... It was you and Farger singing it for the other one.
God damn it. Let me do Pink Dog again. I can't... That's the only one that I know off the... I haven't played Mug the Rapist yet. Oh, I could play Japanese Squeeze.
Okay.
And get your guitar. Let me practice it a couple times.
Okay.
All right, Maxwell, I think I got it.
You got it?
We still rolling?
Yeah, it's still rolling.
She's not Chinese, she's Japanese and spends most of her time on her knees. And she loves me, I guess that's not bad. Even though I'd rather fuck my hand. Ooh. Oh, shit. If we had kids, it'd be alright. She'd be a Japsican, 'cause I'm half Mexican. We'd go in my closet, put on my chaps again. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ee. I'm talking in Japanese. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ee. I'm talking in Japanese. Fucking goddamn it. 'Cause she's my Japanese queen. God damn it. She's my Japanese queen. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ee. I'm talking in Japanese. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ee. She's my Japanese queen. She's my Japanese squeeze. Yeah, 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 yeah.